Hey there, thanks for stopping by. So Switch 2 is officially real. After all the rumors and leaks, we're all talking about it, we're all excited. We got the Direct coming up in April, that's a rumored launch in June, so it's a really exciting time to be a Nintendo fan, a fan of Mario, a fan of Zelda. It seems like it's, a promising future for Nintendo with the Switch 2. The Switch 1 was such a huge success. It had so many great games. So it only seems to be going upward and onward from here with what's possible in the future. Being a Nintendo fan, you obviously buy a Switch 1 or a Switch 2 for the big exclusives. Like, that's, the meat and potatoes. You buy your Mario Odysseys, you buy your Tears of the Kingdom, your Mario Kart, your Smash Ultimate. But you can't, obviously, you could just play that, but it's nice to have, a fully rounded offering of things. So that's why it's nice to be able to have access to third-party games, so stuff from other companies, other publishers that are out there, all the other quality games that you could play alongside your Nintendo first-party offerings. Unfortunately, though, like the Switch 1, as capable as it was and very impressive piece of equipment for the time, the first of its kind, a hybrid system that you could take on the go and plug in at home and just play seamlessly. It's a little underpowered, as for as many ports that you had that were like these miracle ports to get working on the Switch, like The Witcher and Doom, like I mentioned, you'd have stuff like Batman Arkham Knight and Mortal Kombat 1, things that didn't really run that well on the Switch. So it's good to hear that, Switch 2 is apparently going to be a much more capable device that's on par with, say, a PS4 Pro or an Xbox Series S in terms of performance and horsepower. Having all that extra juice inside the machine, opens up more avenues and doors for what other third-party games you could play on the Switch 2 in the future. Now, even though I created this channel all around the theme of Nintendo, I do like other consoles and platforms and stuff like that. I have a PlayStation 5, I play on Steam, so I'm not just exclusively a Nintendo guy. I have a PS5, but I have the Switch because I do enjoy that portability factor. Even 8 years into the console's life, it's still a very appealing feature to have. I can start up a big game like Tears of the Kingdom and, take it with me and play it on the go, set it up at a friend's house. If I'm staying in a hotel on a work trip or something, I can hook it up there. So, it's limitless, and that appeal of the Switch's, hybrid functionality has never gone away. A game I'm looking forward to is Doom the Dark Ages. So obviously I'll play it on PS5 first, but if I want to play it again, maybe, on a trip somewhere, or, wherever I might be, on the bus or stuck in a car somewhere, I play it on Switch 2. I'm not going to bring my PS5 with me. So with a much stronger Switch 2 on the way and, so many possibilities for other great third-party games, I just wanted to take a few minutes here and just run down a list of things that I'd like to see. Also, before we jump into it, I'm just going to be clear that I'm only including games that are already out, so that, we kind of have a good idea of how they run and perform, and if that could, be possible on the Switch 2. Because, a lot of people are saying, bring GTA 6 to Switch 2. First, we've barely seen the game. The snippets we have seen of it look unbelievable, so it's unclear if it's even gonna melt the PS5 and the Xbox Series X at this point. And since we don't really know exactly how strong the Switch 2 is right now, I don't want to make a list based on ifs and maybes. So just games that are out and that I think the Switch 2 could handle is what I'm going to go through here. First up, one that I see a lot of people mention a lot, and I agree, is Red Dead Redemption 2. It's a phenomenal game. It's the open world and the interactivity in it is insane. The amount of things that you can see and do. That game was all I played for half of a year to get through it and see so many different things that it had to offer. The gunplay is so fun, riding your horse is fun, interacting with the people at the camp, just discovering all the little nooks and crannies and things. I'm sure there's still so much that I missed. And that's where, the appeal of being able to play it anywhere would really come in handy, because there's so much to see and do in that game. I could play in little half-hour snippets, or even shorter, just riding from town to town or seeing what I can find in the open world. I could really benefit being on Switch 2. And I mean, they already ported Red Dead 1 to Switch already, and it ran pretty good, and it had all the DLC, so like I see no reason why they can't also have a deal with Rockstar to bring over Red Dead 2. I'm sure it would do really well. A lot of people would buy that game again just to be able to play it on the go. Going from one massive open world game to another, Elden Ring is one that people throw around a lot to want to see on the Switch 2, and yeah, that could also slot in very nicely on the Switch 2 third-party lineup. We've already had Dark Souls on the first Switch, which, ran okay, but having Elden Ring available to you anywhere at any time, again, just like Red Dead 2, a game that's so dense, so packed with detail, things to do and discover, and it's a very demanding game too, right? Like FromSoft, they create very intricate worlds that they want you to explore and discover at your own pace, and there's lots of really challenging boss fights, and it's just they're crushingly brutal games to get through. So the advent of being able to bring that with you and pick it up and put it down at will, just it would add so much to the game to be able to get through it. Like, my buddy bought it for me for Christmas. I haven't started yet. I'm one of the people who has not yet played Elden Ring. It's a 3-year-old game. I know there's a lot of games out there. I don't know if you've noticed. And throw in the DLC there, the Shadow of the Erdtree, and that's another really great package to have. Another third-party game that I think a lot of people would like to have access to on the Switch 2. Nintendo over the years has obviously created a lot of really great relationships with different third-party companies, like Square Enix and Capcom, but one that they seem to really be buddy-buddy with, especially in the Switch generation, was Ubisoft. With both Mario Rabbids games, both of which, the first one especially, was such a huge surprise. I didn't expect to enjoy that game as much as I did. And the second one I thought was so much better. I think it was my favorite game that year too. Ubisoft has obviously been going through a little bit of a difficult time lately with a lot of backlash for their games, and they're really having a lot of financial issues and rumors of people buying them out, so they really need a win. And Nintendo, maybe they'll come swinging and help them out a little bit, because when Nintendo was just coming out of the Wii U era, they had Zelda Breath of the Wild at the Switch launch, but a lot of companies maybe were still a bit apprehensive to jump on board right away based on how big of a failure the Wii U was. But Ubisoft took a gamble, and we had Mario Rabbids in that first year of the Switch, within the first few months. I think it came out that summer. So maybe Nintendo will return the favor, since Ubisoft had confidence in them back in the day, and they'll be like, hey, what do you got? We have a new console coming out. What do you want to put on there? And I think a go-to for Ubisoft will obviously be to want to get the Assassin's Creed franchise on the Switch 2. That is their big money maker. The newest release, Assassin's Creed Shadows, is due to come out in March, I think. So that is an option that could come out. Maybe they're working on a Switch 2 version right now, optimizing it properly. So whether or not that comes out for launch or it's delayed is, remains to be seen. But there are there's a lot of other options for Assassin's Creed games that they could port onto the Switch 2. So, stuff like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Valhalla and Mirage, the most recent games, I think there's a very good chance you could see a port for a handful of them, if not all of them, on the Switch 2 at some point in its lifespan. And with how buddy-buddy, chummy Nintendo and Ubisoft are, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Ubisoft jump on the hype train for the Switch 2, with how lucrative, a big success the Switch 2 seems to be positioned to be. They're gonna want to get in on that, and what better way than with Assassin's Creed? And the final addition to this list, and this is a very personal one for me, I think it would be very cool to see Capcom get in on the Switch 2 hype train and release a port of Resident Evil 4 Remake and Resident Evil Village. The original Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite games, if not my favorite game of all time. I really need to think about it. I just love how corny that game is, the way it's paced out, the action, all the set pieces. It's just literally a perfect experience in my eyes. And somehow, they managed to capture lightning in a bottle twice, because the Resident Evil 4 Remake was almost just as good as the original, if not better in a few ways. I don't know what kind of black magic they were working at Capcom, but that game was insanely good. And while we're at it, Resident Evil Village, like I mentioned, I know that it is on Switch 1, but it's a cloud version, and that's a no-no. That doesn't really work properly all the time, so a version running natively on Switch 2 would be very cool. Give it to me now, pretty please. So those are just a few ideas for third-party games that I think could come to the Switch 2, and like I think they're pretty safe bets, honestly. Like I could realistically see like all of these coming to the Switch 2 at some point. They were all big games in their own right. Switch 2 is going to be a big system for Nintendo, so these companies are going to want to get in on it. Let me know in the comments down below what third-party games you'd like to see on the Switch 2 in the future. Like this video, share with friends, get a conversation going, subscribe for more content in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.